Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, guys, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to be reading a subreddit today. r/entitled parents. Should be a great video. Going to be doing something different, I know, but it should be a lot of fun. I've been reading a lot of these. It's really funny. Yeah, let's get into this. I used to work as a swimming teacher. In one class, there was a deaf student, let's call her Jen. And I was the only one who knew basic sign language, so I worked as a second teacher in that class specifically with Jen. The age limit was 3 years and above, but there were some expectations. Entitled Mom, let's call her EM for originally points, was an expectation, and her daughter Casey. A good start, I know. Was enrolled when she was just 2.5. There was a snowstorm one week and only 2 students showed up. Myself and the other teacher took a student each and worked on their badges. For context, each class level had about 3 badges before the student could move to the next class. Each badge had a checklist of 10 things. It was expected that one student would get roughly 1 badge a turn because we couldn't target lessons to 3 different checklists at once. Casey got her badge on that day because I could deliberately work through the checklist with her on her own. Over the next few weeks, her progress went back to what was expected in a full class. She was still making progress, just slower. Jane was on a different badge, so I would have to sign off different exercises for Jane before I could help Casey. EM called me over before the start of class after about a month of this to ask why Casey had no more badges. I explained that they were only expected to get 1 badge per term and that Casey had been lucky with the snow day. There were always private classes if EM wanted faster progress, but those who were more expensive on a different day. EM said she'd make a formal complaint because I was giving special tuition to another girl in that class over Casey, and she pointed to Jane. I tried to explain that Jane was deaf and I needed to sign her, which took longer, especially as I was winging it with my rudimentary skills. EM just asked me if Jane was paying me. I said no, and EM stuck a finger in my face and claimed I was discriminating Casey just because she can hear. She also said something about getting me punished for discrimination. I said she could move Casey, and she argued that she shouldn't have to. She wanted Jane to move and tried to drag her receptionist into the conversation by saying she had heard Jane and I needed extra help, so shouldn't she be in a dumber class? Jane's mother was also deaf, but with the pointing it was fairly obvious who EM was talking about. I had to rush off to teach the class, and I know you shouldn't give in to entitled parents, but I'd already had a formal warning. I dyed my hair, and parent complained I scared their child, LMAO, so I didn't want to risk it and gave Casey as much attention as I could. Still, Casey refused to be in the water without floaties, so she couldn't get her badge that week. The next week, I had another formal complaint from the head office because a parent had complained I was transphobic. I didn't have any trans in my classes, and I never talked about it with any children, obviously. So I wasn't sure what I'd done. Apparently, I'd misgendered a student. I tended to the whole group called guys just for ease, and EM claimed that misgendering Casey, that had upset her and she didn't want to come back. EM wanted me fired, especially as I called Jane a good girl whenever she swam rather than a guy. Spoiler alert, I didn't talk to Jane because, she was deaf. I had a second formal warning after that I had another formal warning after that, and Casey moved to a different swim school because I taught in all the classes for that age group. My mom is a substitute school teacher in the district, and apparently Casey turned up in one of her classes a few years ago. The family hadn't changed. Women tried to take my family pictures because that's not my family. Back in 2014, I used to work on an office. I stored pictures of my family on the desk, and I was working late hours because Christmas was coming up. Anyway, a new woman had got to the job and was on the same floor as me, and the desk across from me. One day, her kid was sick and could not go home, so she decided to keep him in the office. As he was a kid, he clearly was bored and came over to my desk, which I'm fine with because I have kids and I know how to handle them. He saw the pictures and noticed my son is in one. He asked normal questions such as, what is his name and where do you live? His mom came over to the desk, probably to stop him from being nosy, and also saw the photos. She then said that the people in the photo looked like her family. I was confused, and to light up the mood, I said maybe we're just in the same family, but don't know each other. She stared at the photo closely and reached out for the photo. I put my arm in front of hers and cut her off. Now I felt uncomfortable. I told her to go away as it wasn't her family, but then reached out again and managed to grab it. I hit it out of her hand and it shattered on the floor. She then said that she hates me. What? And that was it. She returned to her desk that was behind me, and I heard her son asking, why does she did that, and she just said shut up each time. I was shocked in the moment and didn't know what to do. After that shift, I filed a complaint to the boss, who moved her place to near the front. Anyway, after that, I tried to either keep my belongings in arm's reach, if not right beside me. Okay, this one's small, but it's still like unbelievable. Like, how are you gonna come over to someone's desk and say, those are my pictures, despite them being on your picture, like being on your desk? Like, how are you gonna say that that's your family when you can clearly see that it's not your family? Because if it was your family, I would hope that you would know who your family was. So just don't do this, guys. Like, don't be, or excuse me, guys and girls, from the last story. Don't say that, like, just don't do that. Like, there's no, all these stories that I've read on this subreddit, they never get what they want. Barely ever. Very, very small chance that they will get what they want. So there's no point. You're making a scene for no reason, and then you get put in your place. So, I just, again, don't know how people think they're so entitled to things. This isn't really entitled. This woman's just dumb. Like literally dumb. So, anyway, on to the next. Entitled racist parent. I used to work in a supermarket on the guest service desk, so I wasn't far from the door where this all took place. Security guard sees a known shoplifting child about 13 to 14 heading to leave the store. Now, this child has been told he is not to enter the store without his parents due to all the shoplifting. Security guard SG, just doing his job, stops the kid and asks where his mom is, and she did not like this. They encounter went as follows. SG: hey, you're not supposed to be in here alone, kid. Entitled mom EM leaves checkout to approach SG. He's not doing anything. Leave my kid alone. I was just paying for our shopping. SG: you know he's not supposed to be in here alone. He steals. EM: don't lie about my child. I'm sick of you all lying about him. SG: please stop shouting, or I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I'm a customer. You can't make me leave, you N-word. SG claimingly removes his tie, jacket, badge, and security company shirt before squaring up to the mom. Call me that again. I'm not working for anyone right now. Calls manager before stepping in. Calling the manager before stepping in between. SG name. Please leave this right now. The manager is on her way. She isn't worth it. Security guard leaves the manager and arrives. What's the problem? That N-word accused my son of stealing. I'm a paying customer. I won't stand for this. Manager: okay, well, I need you and your son to leave. We have details on the file from the previous theft, and we will be reporting you to the police for the hate crime. EM grabs the parents and drags him out of the store with her groceries, which I had put all those back. So thanks. This could have also been a stories of retail, but this could have also been a story from retail, but this woman is one of the biggest reasons I can't stand up to entitled parents and no longer work in retail. No matter how terribly you perceive someone to be acting, there is no call for using that word. Now, on this one, there's again, I'm going to start out with, there's no reason to call someone a word just because of their race. Like, that's a problem that this world still faces, and I think it needs to be fixed, but I'm not talking about that. This is not a video for that. But in general, this is, again, more entitlement. It's really stupid. It just gets on my nerves. So, yeah, I guess, on to the next. Alright guys, it's going to be the last one, but it's kind of a longer one, so let's get into this. Soccer mom screams at me for throwing her kid out of a soccer game. Backstory: I'm a junior in high school that referees club soccer at a high school level. Stumbled across a subreddit and thought I'd share my experience I had last fall. A lot of youth soccer referees quit on early because of parental abuse. There's a lot that you can read on it. Actually, I've known kids who quit because it's not fun for them anymore. I never really had much of a problem until this one game. An occasional shout here or there, but I'd worked really hard and accurately to get the tier I was allowed to referee this game in. I was the man in the center with the whistle, stopwatch, and cards. My two assistants were much older than me, at least 30 years more each, and we got along pretty well during the game. However, it didn't take long for things to go downhill. The game was U14 boys between two rivalry clubs, being a former high school level club player. I knew these clubs well. One club had especially notorious reputation for region's worst soccer mom. Sorry, that's bad grammar. This club were the favorites to win. 4 minutes in, they go down 1-0. Then another goal, then another. By then it's 8 minutes gone and the score is 3-0. And the teammates are getting very angry with each other. I haven't made a call yet. Then, as one of the midfielders go up to set up the ball, kickoff, he says not so quietly, "What the F, guys?" Fuck. The first rule of the referee is respect. Respect the players, the parents, and the game, and expect the same from others on the field. This is called the zero tolerance rule, which includes abuse language. This kid just violated it twice. I wheeled around and gave him a red card on the spot, which for non-soccer fans means an ejection from the rest of the game and the next one. Suddenly, an uproar from the sideline. The coach of the team jogs on the field and, in a very polite manner, asks, "What was that for?" I told him that his player used the F word twice, and I will not tolerate it. The coach said he understood and will be addressing his player after the game. I'm returning to the center to finally kick off again when I hear the jeers. "You suck!" What the hell was that for? "Come on, ref!" Mostly nothing. This quieted down eventually, but at the end of the first half, it was 0-5 to the underdog. Suddenly, as I'm setting up the kickoff half again, a mom walks over with her flavor, the ejected one, screaming. The typical upper middle class soccer mom. High heels, sunglasses, chewing gum, short hair that's been bleached. "What the hell is wrong with you?" She points her finger at me as she talks, looking at like an angered flamingo. And the other hand, she clutches her superstar, bawling eyes out. When a player gets ejected, he or she needs to stay out of the field until the end. Usually this means they have to wait in the parking lot and are not allowed to watch the rest of the game. Not this mom. "My baby didn't do anything wrong. You should be ashamed. I will have you fired. What's your ID number?" I was honestly speechless. I usually don't have a problem holding respectful conversation with adults, but this was surprisingly intimidating. "Ma'am, your son used a foul and abusive language on my field. I cannot and will not tolerate it. Furthermore, he needs to stay in the parking lot until the conclusion of the game. Thank you." The big tough kid, EC, who had been reduced to the bubbling sack of crime, wails, "Mommy, I want to play." This gets entitled mom outraged. Entitled mom, "You can't tell him to do that. He's my son. Me, ma'am, my rules, my field, my rules. Please go back to the supporters section." He goes, I want to play." He's getting very loud now. "EM, are you telling me how to parent? You aren't even a parent yet. How does that work?" Me, "I have the rule book in my bag. I can read you the specific wording of the law if you'd like. The rules of the soccer are divided into laws." EM, "No, I want your field supervisor. This isn't your field. It belongs to the town of redacted. Idiot. Yeah, let me play." Me, "Excuse me, ma'am, that's the final warning. My boss is in his office 50 miles away working hard. One more outburst out of you and you're going to need to leave." EM, "Oh yeah, prove it. The referees are all the same, just trying to ruin the lives of sweet little children looking to have fun." At this point, the coach and the boys is coming over to see what is going on. The other refs are just trying to calm down the other parents. All the while, I have done everything in my power to not start screaming. Me, "I'm just calling this game to the best of my ability." EM, "Your ability sucks. I want you fired. Learn to open your eyes." Me, "That's funny. I have 2016 vision." EM, "You have 20 seconds to put my son in the game before I call your supervisors." Me, trying not to make a snappy comeback. "Okay, thank you. You're gone." I gesture to the parking lot. "Are you asking me to leave right now?" The audacity. Nope, I'm telling you to leave. Now. The coach has come over to the bench. He tries to convince the woman to leave. She tries to barter with him unsuccessfully. EC, "Coach, put me in." EM, "I'm not going anywhere." Me, "Last chance, ma'am." EM, "No, I want this whistle. I blow this whistle loudly 3 times, waving my arms in an X, and say, 'Game abandoned.' This has been Nuffled I don't know how to say that, sorry. And the other team has been given 5-0 win this vice forfeit. The other parents are still mad at me, but they see the woman throwing a temper tantrum and make their way back to the cars. The coach led the woman and her son to the car. A week later, my boss called me. He asked me to explain what happened. I tell him my side, telling me he had just received the mother's side and how I was a fan of the other team. And get this, tried to physically hurt her son. That's funny. The other refs and the coach of the team, the boy that ejected from all sent letters to my boss in defense within the next few days. And and the case was filed in my favor. The woman was banned from attending any games for the rest of the season, and the kid still had to serve his band. I love this game, and my job as teaching kids to play is great joy for me. However, oh my God, I'm sorry about my phone if you guys hear that. This experience still lingers with me, showing the harsh realities of being a ref. Spoiler alert, we're human too. Edit. A lot of people are asking why I would kick the kid out for saying a bad word. 2 weeks prior, the refs received an email social signs stating after numerous incidents of parental and player abuse, we were not to let a single word get by, whether directed at referees, parents, or players. This is why the player was dismissed. There's a lot of messed up grammar, sorry. Additionally, the player could have taken his anger out on opposing players, which would get me under a lot of fire for not addressing the situation sooner. I ended the game, filed my report, and the boss called me a week later to finalize both sides of the story so he could take much report to the body of officials that validates and upholds suspicions. Also, this is my first post on Reddit. Thanks so much for the support. Okay, for the last one, this was honestly the best one because this is just ridiculous. How are you going to get mad at the coach for just doing his job? Like, it's honestly ridiculous. It gets on my nerves. I don't understand it. This mom is very entitled. The kid is obviously, look. Let me find in here. Look. No, I want to play. Like, he honestly doesn't really want to play. He just wants to start a scene. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys later.